Going to introduce our speaker for today. Truly a privilege to introduce someone who represents not only athletic excellence, but also the values we hold dear in Rotary: service, integrity, and faith. Proud Edwardsville High School graduate, Riley Patterson has taken a remarkable journey from our local community to the National Football League, where he currently serves as the kicker for the Miami Dolphins. His path from college football at the University of Memphis to the professional stage is a testament to perseverance, discipline, and a commitment to constant growth. But what makes Riley's story especially meaningful is the foundation behind his success. He has been open about the role his faith plays in his life, guiding him through challenges, keeping him grounded in moments of success, and shaping the way he approaches both his career and his community. In a profession defined by pressure and precision, Riley has become known not just for his consistency on the field, but for his character off of it, demonstrating humility, gratitude, desire to use his platform for good. He's a wonderful example of how dedication, faith, and strong values can lead to both personal and professional success. Please join me welcoming Edwardsville's own Riley Patterson.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I am from Edwardsville. Me and my wife both, who've been dating since I was a sophomore in high school. So we've been together a long time. I think you actually might be able to see my house from over here. I still live here. We love Edwardsville. We'll always be coming back no matter what team I end up on in the fall. As you can tell on my side there, I've been on several. And I'll kind of walk through that journey with you guys for a little bit. But super appreciative that you guys are letting me come speak to you about football. But later on, I'm going to talk a little bit more about something that I care much more than that, which ties in so much of my career together. So if you'll give me your ears these next 15 minutes or so, then I'd appreciate it. So thank you very much for letting me come and speak to you. But a little bit about me and my background. I'll kind of walk through that and then chill a little bit about my career and then give you a little bit of my testimony at the end. But from Edwardsville, grew up here, have a great, my dad's here today, great parents who love me very much and were always there for me in every way, never needed anything outside of them. So grew up in a great family and a great community, went to great middle schools and high schools. I love Edwardsville. The high school is fantastic. So many of my friends live probably right down this street and then down the next one too. So very much in this community and just so thankful for the way this place has brought so many high schoolers and middle schoolers up. So many people in this room even did such a good job kind of cultivating that culture that we have in Edwardsville. So appreciation to you as one of the people that have come through this city. But these past 10 years or so I'm about to go through has been pretty chaotic and a lot of different things have happened. So if you have a question, there may be some time at the end. I'm just going to rip through this just to give you some overview. So I grew up playing lots of different sports: football, baseball, soccer. I did Taekwondo at Young Martial Arts, which was a trip, but it was awesome. And I was really good at soccer, pretty good at football, but I was better at soccer than everything else. But I always kicked on the football team because I was good at it. Then as high school went on, I ended up just getting a scholarship to play at Memphis, a full scholarship to play in college, which I couldn't get for soccer. So I went and did football at Memphis. And I was there for 4 years. Now being in college and football for one place for 4 years is pretty rare. I was before all that happened. So I was there the whole time. And it was such a blessing. I wouldn't change it for the world. But it was not easy, if I'm being quite honest. You'll notice a trend of a failure in my career. That's something that has happened quite a bit. Competition, stress, anxiety kind of took over many parts of my career that you wouldn't really see from the outside looking in. But internally, we all kind of deal with a lot of things that we don't like to show people, if we're being quite honest about it. So I'm just going to kind of open the curtain a little bit and kind of tell you the things that I personally went through during these times, and maybe you can relate to some of those things just in a different way. But for example, when I first got to Memphis, we would have fall camp practice. And I'm starting right away. I was very fortunate. That's what I wanted to do. So we would have a game-winning kick at the end of every practice. What would happen is that I'd stand here and the entire team would come around, about 100, 150 people around. And then they would squirt water bottles up in the air. They would dress up as the mascot and do cartwheels behind the line. It was really chaotic, and there was a lot of pressure on the line because if I missed that game-winning kick at the end of each of those practices, the entire team would run. And if I made that kick, we didn't run. You can imagine 100 grown men that are 300 pounds drenched in sweat from Memphis humidity on a black turf field. They did not want me to miss that kick. But unfortunately, if I'm being quite honest, I missed many of those kicks. And when I got back to the locker room, a lot of bad things were said. A lot of not so good things happened. And it was a hard time in my life. And that kind of kept going through that year. And I'll kind of come back to it at this point, or later on, but I'll fast forward to the end of that year. At the end of that year, Memphis football had one of its best years in history. We went to the conference championship. We were against UCF. If any of you football fans remember when UCF went undefeated, they were national champions. As you can tell, we're going to lose this game. So we go to this game. It's an amazing game. It's like 48 to like 46, something like that. Long story short, at the very end of the game, I get 2 opportunities to have kicks that put us ahead, and then one of them with 30 seconds left. I missed both those kicks. There's a longer story to it, but I missed both of them. And it was extremely embarrassing. At this point in my life, I put everything that I was into making a kick. From snap to hold the kick, it's 1.3 seconds. So it's 1.3 seconds. If I made that kick, I was walking tall. I'm walking through the hallways with my chest out, my hey, look at me. I'm getting my information from how people see how I did my job. If I was good at my job, then I had worth. Later on, I'll kind of explain how that changed. But for someone who puts everything in their career, which I would imagine I'm not the only one in this room that does that, it was pretty difficult to fail on a public stage on national television in front of family, friends. It was truly embarrassing. And there wasn't much love coming from that football team afterwards, if being quite honest. I'm walking up the field, half their student section, because it was an away game, was chanting my name in a bad way. So I'm in a bad spot at that time, but I'm going to come back to this in a couple minutes. I'll forward through my Memphis career. My sophomore year, did a little bit better, but things changed at the end of my freshman year. My junior year, I had an excellent year. I had one of the best field goal percentages in the country. We went to the Cotton Bowl. We won the conference championship. We had a ton of success as a team. I ended up making the most kicks in Cotton Bowl history. We had 6 field goals, made them all, just incredible. And at that point, we started thinking about the NFL. That wasn't really an option at this point or before that. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to give it my best. Maybe we can go to the NFL. And that ended up happening. I got an agent. They tell you all this nonsense. But anyway, I got an agent. And then I get undrafted to go to Minnesota. And I got a little chart here of all these teams I've been to. So if you got a pen and paper, you'd find it right now. So I started at Minnesota, but I went on 9 different teams. We've moved, me and my wife, 12 separate times. Now we have a 10-month-old, so it's a little different now doing it. But we've been moving a lot, been all over the place, went back to the same teams 4 separate times. But I'll just kind of run through it real quick so you can get an idea. This is not everyone's NFL experience. For example, you guys probably know who AJ Epinesa is. He's been with the Bills the past 6 years. That is not my experience. But also AJ's a beast, and he's been terrific. So that also has something to do with it. So I went to Minnesota, undrafted. I got injured that summer. So in the football calendar, I guess it's a little different. I'll turn around. You have OTAs. You have summer break, fall camp, and then you have the season. So in that OTA part, which I'm about to leave to go to Miami here on Monday with my wife and baby for OTAs, I got injured during that. And then I got cut during fall camp the day after my surgery. Then I'm back home, and I'll just rip through a lot of these. Then I got a lot of tryouts, went to the Patterson practice squad for several weeks, and then got claimed by Detroit, played the rest of the year there, had some success, coming around to the second year, if you're staying with me on the calendar, got to fall camp, got cut at 4 o'clock, which was the last cut. And if just a little insight in NFL cuts, you sit in the locker room all day. You have a workout in the morning, which is a nonsense workout. You're just there so you can either cut or stay. And then I stayed there all the way until 4 o'clock. And I was the last guy cut because they thought I could get traded. So I got cut, but I got claimed by Jacksonville. So still good news. Go to Jacksonville. And if you remember back in my story, my freshman year in high school, I had trouble with those practices of those game-winning kicks. Some of those emotions are coming back up at this point. They're a little different because of something I'll explain later, but it's still very difficult, high stress. Because if I don't do well in these practices, I don't do well in these games, I will get cuts and then I will go back home and pray for another opportunity. There is no minor leagues. You are either on the couch or you're playing in a game for a kicker. So it's not like you just get to warm up a couple weeks. I'll explain later on. Like I went to the Jets. I had a tryout on Monday or tryout on Tuesday, another tryout on Wednesday, game on Thursday, playing it, get cut that next Monday. So it's an interesting NFL career I've had, but for kickers, that's kind of the deal. So I go through Jacksonville having struggles of practice, but I made kicks in the game. I just kept making kicks. So it's hard for them to get rid of me. And then we ended up having game-winning kicks in the playoffs that year. Cool finish. So I'm thinking year 3, I'm set. This will be my place. I ended up getting cut in OTAs out of nowhere. Didn't expect it. Go back to Detroit, and I'll run through these. But go to Detroit there until week 15. Do pretty good. Get cut again week 15 in my 3rd year. Go to Cleveland. It's hard to keep up. I'm sorry. Even I have to read sometimes. So then go to Cleveland. Now we're going into year 4. Go back to Jacksonville, where I'm like, okay, their guy didn't do very well. They're bringing me back. Maybe this will be the right moment. And then all of a sudden they draft somebody. And if you get drafted as a kicker, you're gonna play. So they bring him in. I eventually get cut during fall camp, and I get claimed by the Commanders, and get cut 2 weeks later. And then we drive 12 hours to get back home. And then now we're back home and just doing lots and lots of tryouts. I've had 15 tryouts. And if we have time after, if you guys want to know, I'll explain what a tryout is. It's a pretty wild scenario. And then later that year, I played for 3 separate teams. Jets was one of those situations. And after that, went to Cleveland. Then after that, went to Atlanta. And then the year ended. So if you're sticking with me, year 5 now, I am not on any team during the spring or during the summer, during fall camp. And if you're not getting any calls, which was what happened to me, I got no calls from agent, no talks, no nothing. At that point, most people are like, yeah, this is probably it for you. You know, you had a good run, played a couple of years, all good. But I was really convinced that I'm just going to give it my best this year. I'm going to use the opportunity to actually get better rather than compete at this moment. I have a chance to go over there to Edwardsville High School and borrow their turf field, which I've hit 1 billion field goals on at this point. So I'll go back, I'll get better, I'll practice, and when an opportunity comes, I'll be ready for it. Because at that point, you can either react or you can respond to a situation that you're in. That's kind of coach talk, but I've been in a lot of locker rooms, as you can tell. So a lot of things have happened. You can feel sorry for yourself, but I don't find that you'll get any success after that. Instead, you'll just get some sympathy. And sympathy is not good. You want purpose, not sympathy. So I chose to respond. I chose to get better. And then I prayed. And I prayed a lot. And it wasn't just me praying. It was my dad. It was my wife. It was my mom. My mom, she probably pays every single day. But they thought about me so much. And all of a sudden, an opportunity came at the very end of fall camp that year with the Miami Dolphins. And I wasn't aware of this. It just kind of happened. I know where their kicker got injured. I go in there and I kick against several other guys that one of them, which I'm now going to compete against this year in Miami. But we had this tryout. I go 13 for 13. I had the best day of kicking I ever had. And then they just bring me up and I'm playing in the game. I'm like, wow, that happened out of nowhere. I was back home a couple days ago. Now I'm playing for the Dolphins, first game of the year, praying that somehow, some way we get here. And then we did. And then this year, long story short, it's more than a couple minute talk, but basically every 3 weeks we're like, hey, he's going to come back. He's going to come back. He's going to come back. And then all of a sudden I just ended up playing the rest of the year. I had by far my best year I've ever had. super, super thankful. We didn't think we were going to play the whole year. For example, we lived in like 4 or 5 different places throughout the year. My wife and baby were coming back and forth, which you can imagine is really stressful. So I'm very fortunate to have a wife that supports me in this. It matters a lot because if I'm going somewhere, then I have to think, is Claire going to be okay? Is Wesley going to be okay? Back at the house in a new place that we don't know about. If everything's good back there, then I can go and do what I need to do. So I'm very thankful that Claire has been so great for me. But also my parents as well. My parents have been fantastic, especially my dad. It's been so much support coming from them over these years when a lot of things weren't going great. They all these ups and downs, as you can imagine, that I've been talking about. And then it kind of fast forwards today. I'm back in the Dolphins, which is great. But as you can imagine, there's a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of confusion. Like, how do you kind of get through that? I'm not strong enough to do something like that. I'm not smart enough. I don't have enough knowledge. I'm not good enough to do those things. So then there's a reason why. So I'm going to bring you back to freshman year of high school, really even middle school. I grew up in a house with great parents. They brought me up right. They gave me an opportunity to go to church with them, which was a really big deal. I know I'm saying the word church. I'm not pastor. You guys got to worry or nothing. I'm just giving my testimony about how Jesus Christ changed my life forever. That's the only story I know how to give. So when they asked me what I'd come up here and talk about, it's the only story I know. So I know what he's done in my life. So I'm just proud to say what he's done through me. Or in me, sorry. So around middle school, I go to, a little smaller, Good Shepherd back in Collinsville for the first 5 years. And I get to middle school and then you go to Lincoln. So huge school, lots of new things, lots of hormones, man. If you guys could put yourself back to middle school, what a ridiculous time that is. Nothing makes sense at all. And you have an unreasonable amount of confidence in yourself, no reason. So a lot of things were going on and I was struggling internally. I was good at a lot of things. I was really good at sports, but I was never the best one on the team. I was good in school, but I was never the best. I wasn't the smartest. I didn't have the best grade. And I had a lot of friends, but I was never like on that inner circle. I was always kind of on the outside. So I always feel like I was failing. I wasn't quite good enough. And that kind of eats at you after a while. So at this point, I want you guys to think about any middle schoolers, any high schoolers that you guys know, man, they're going through it. It is tough. There's a lot of things going on in this world right now. Phones are a big deal. Have some empathy for them and listen to them and try and help them any way you can. And please bring them to church, man. That's the only advice that I have, but I just do your best with them because they're going through it. So we've been a part of lots of high school ministries over these past couple of years all around the country. And there is a common theme. And COVID was a big part of that. These phones are a big part of that. They're stressed out of their minds and they don't know what to do. So that's kind of where I was at this moment. I didn't know what to do. I kept on failing. And then I'm thinking, well, I keep failing. I'm not good enough, but what does it even matter? If I'm going to church, I know this equation of like, Jesus is here. If I believe in him, then that means I'm going to go to heaven and heaven's forever. And then we're here just for a little bit. So why am I freaking out about this? So I'm like, if that's also the equation, I should probably figure out what I think about Jesus. Like he's a big deal, it seems like. Regardless if I believe in him, he's the most influential person of all time. I should at least have some background, learn about him. So at this point, I'm actually paying attention in church. And then something weird happened, which I can't explain. Worship services are going on. This is at Metro, where I still attend church right now. I would get emotional. And at that point, a lot of the guys in the room, like, you don't want to be crying when you're in middle school or high school. Like you don't do that. Like that's embarrassing. So when that would happen, I would go out back behind the church, say I'm going to the bathroom, and I would just get emotional. I would start crying. I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know the theology behind it. I didn't know all the answers. I didn't read the whole Bible. Like, I don't know. So it just keeps on happening. Then all of a sudden I go to this ACT prep class because at this point I'm really wanting to play soccer, got to get a scholarship. So I got to do good on these things. And all of a sudden it comes to this reading portion. I read it 40 times. I could not understand a lick of what was going on. It's like someone just clogged my brain for a minute. And then come time for the answers, I didn't get any of it. And that night, man, I'm laying in my bed. I'm thinking about all the mistakes that I've made. I think about all the selfishness that I've had where it's only just about me and then belittling other people in social circles because I wanted to be affirmed by somebody else. Terrible things. And I kept on failing. I was falling short of the mark, which just so happens to be the definition for the word sin. That's what it translates to, falling short of the mark. And I was definitely doing that. So I'm sitting there in my bed, just filled with guilt, shame, and failure. I'm laying down and I just get emotional. I start crying and I don't know what it means. I don't know what was going on. And as I'm crying, I can't explain it. Words weren't said to me like some big, romanticized thing. I just felt like someone give me a hug. I know it sounds gooey and guppy. Somebody gave me a hug in that moment. And I felt grace. I felt love of no matter what you did, no matter what I do, I still love you. All the things that you did do, I love you. You can't earn my love. I'm giving it to you. It's like, this is insane. This is a new equation. I didn't know this one. So I'm sitting there and then I'm just filled with joy. I didn't feel this before. This is like a totally new deal. This is all happening right then. And I just think this is the same feeling I have when I'm going to worship, when I go back behind the church. It's the same thing. And I'm just thinking of Jesus, man. I don't know what all this means. I don't get it. I don't know the words, but I can't do this on my own. Please forgive me for trying to. I have failed and I keep on trying to serve myself rather than anybody else. Forgive me, please. And I repented, man. I came to Christ and things have changed since in a big way. But so this is the important part. Sorry, not the only important part, but I want this to kind of, you guys remember this. If you don't remember anything else, it wasn't sunshines and rainbows after that, which is what I was believed to have thought. If you come to Christ, it's like, okay, he's in charge now. You're going to be good. That's fine. That's not what happened. I was filled with extreme conviction then of the life that I was living. And I didn't know what to do with that at that point. I didn't know what it meant. I kept it all to myself. I got baptized, but then that was it. I didn't know what to do. And this happened for several years. On the outside looking in, you wouldn't know anything, but like a lot of the high schoolers and middle schoolers in our lives, they're not going to be open to tell you about everything they're thinking. But they want somebody to walk through them with it. They're in it. So then we get to freshman year of college. If you remember, all year long, terrible influence. Some of these seniors that were there were trying to corrupt me. There's no better word to say it. They were part of bad things, not wanting me to do anything good, just get me out Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. Didn't matter. But for some reason, I felt convicted. I'm like, whatever happens these days, I'm getting my body to church on Sunday, and I'm separating my faith from football. Two different things. Nobody's coming with me. I'm going to go back in the back of that church, not telling anybody I'm there, and I'm just going to cry in the corner while worship's going on. And that was the best part of my week, the whole first year. And then these things happen. At the end of the season, missed these kicks. And then all of a sudden, I go to this small group thing, which I thought was so silly. We're going to sit around a table and talk about, a book. Like, this seems weird to me, But I went. I felt like somebody was just yanking my shirt to get me there. And I got there, and a guy named Jeff Jordan was leading this group. And this guy was extremely impactful to me. He had 6 children. He owned his own company, very successful. And he was did a lot of dad jokes. I thought that was really funny. So I'm like, dude, like I'll go to this thing. I'll talk to you. And then he starts talking about discipleship. That word discipleship. Remember that one. He explains what that is. It's like, no disrespect, Jeff, but didn't the disciples die in the Bible? Like there was 12 of them, right? And he's like, no, those are the apostles. That's a different thing. I genuinely thought that. But no, he said in Matthew 28, and it's called the Great Commission, if you guys have heard this. He said, Jesus said to his disciples, one of the last thing he says going up. So, it's a big deal. It says, go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, teaching them to obey everything that I have commanded you, for I'll be with you always until the very end of the age. One of the last things he said. That's a pretty big deal. So Jeff took that very seriously. Someone actually discipled him, and then he now makes disciples. I asked him what he did. Before he told me his actual job, he said, I make disciples. I was like, I don't even know what that means, man. I'm like, what are you saying? That was like some church word they said on Sunday. But no, he meant it. He made disciples. He took time out of an extremely busy day to pour into people so they can pour into that generation, the next one, and the next one, and the next one. People like me that were confused, that kept all these things to myself. I didn't know what to do with all these convictions on how to now live my life. He put words to them. He helped me read the Bible, helped me to understand what the heck is going on in this thing. And the more you dig into it, man, it is amazing, this book. I didn't bring one with me, but man, if you guys haven't read it, it's quite the read. Historically speaking, I would say it's the bestseller. Do it. It is awesome, man. Start in one of the Gospels and then just make your way through it. So he taught me how to do it, kind of taught me how to deal with the sin that I had been committing and had been a part of, and then walked with me. And I learned from him through his actions, not just the words that he taught me in like some lesson that was going on. He married me and Claire. He's a great friend of our family. And he also went on mission trips with him. And I called him earlier this week. Great friend of mine. So I say all this. Now I want to try and wrap this thing up because I know we're probably getting close on time here too. But if you guys don't, I'm not a pastor. I don't know how to do all that. But if you guys don't know who Jesus is, if you guys don't have like an actual relationship with him, this is the only thing that I know. I know that he loves me more than I can even fathom. I have my own son. I have a wife. I have parents. I love them so much. Jesus loves me so much more than that. And I can feel it and I know it. And I know it to be true. If you guys don't know that, man, please just think about it. Pray about it. Read that book, man. You got to inquire. It's too big of a deal not to do it. There's a lot of history. There's a lot of things around it. Please inquire about Jesus Christ. He changed my life, and that's the only thing that I know. I know that a lot better than I know how to kick field. I promise you that. Which brings me to my last point. So all these things are going on in football, a lot of highs, a lot of ups, a lot of downs. You notice that whenever I started getting discipled and then running after Christ instead of him trying to run after me, I started doing better. That's not why I followed Christ. That's not why I still, read the Bible every day now. It is because Jesus Christ is a lifeline in the only thing that I can truly find value in this world, because he is the one in the next. Whenever I pass away, which we all will, we don't know when, we're going to be confronted, that man. And then we're going to have to give an account of what happened. And I'm so excited that I don't have to give an account for the things that I've done. Instead, he's going to see Jesus instead of me. Because Jesus, which we're going to talk about on Sunday, if you guys go to church, he actually died. This is not a guess. He died. There's historical evidence behind that. Look it up. And then he came back to life. And he died for the sins of mine, sins of you, sins of everybody in this room. If you guys have questions about that, about any of this, come talk to me, come talk to somebody. But I just pray that you don't keep that to yourself. Think about what he did. Watch Passion of the Christ. It's an amazing movie, man. And just take that seriously. So thank you guys so much for allowing me to speak to you. I thank you for having ears to hear. And just take care of this community best that you can, because Edwardsville is a fantastic place. And we're excited to be here for the long haul. So thanks. Oh, yeah. No, I do. So I do, if you don't mind, actually, do you mind stay standing as we're doing musical chairs? Sorry. I'm gonna finish this out in a prayer. It's our family prayer. It's Colossians 1:9-11. If you bow your heads real quick with me. God, we continually ask you to fill us with the knowledge of your will, through all the wisdom and the understanding that the Spirit gives, so that we may live a life worthy of you, bearing fruit in every good work, growing in the knowledge of God, and be strengthened with all power according to your glorious might, so that we may live in the inheritance of your holy people. But God, we are so grateful for you. We're so thankful for you to be in this room with us. God, if we don't know you, I pray that you make yourself known to us in prayer, in your word, and through actions, Lord. God, how beautiful you are, how strong you are, how real you are. In your name we pray. Amen. Yes. Thank you.
Amazing. So, right over. Thank you again.